So, folks from around the world, it's about that time. It's a Wednesday, and on Wednesdays, we like to reach out to real life traders from around the world and ask them questions about their trading strategy, their trading journey, what's brought them to where they are today, what they're doing going forward. And my mission is to really learn from them, have you learn from them, connect with them, learn who they are, learn about their approaches and all that kind of good stuff. And I have a really special interview today with Brandon Robles. And Brandon was actually in Nashville kind of randomly last week, just a few days ago, and he texted me. And just a really great dude. We connected, and he actually stayed in Nashville for another 3 days, and we just kind of continue to hang out. So I want to introduce you guys to this. This dude is an absolute legend, especially in the gym. So, I can finally stretch both of my arms. The soreness has gone away.
Right.
Yeah, man. But Brandon, thanks for that experience, man. It was truly incredible. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you live, how old you are. Give us some background.
All right, perfect. Well, I got that introduction. I get a little bit of an echo, so bear with me. It's going to kind of interrupt my thought. But so I grew up out in a little town called Marana, Arizona. It's about 2 hours south of Phoenix, to give you a reference point. And it's in the desert, so I grew up around everything that's brown. But no, so a little bit about me. Right out of high school, I joined the United States Marine Corps right at, I was 18. And while I was in the Marine Corps, I served as a legal services specialist. And basically what I was doing paralegal type of work and working with attorneys. And basically my job was separating Marines from the Marine Corps for misconduct and other things. And I got to see everything what not to do.
Right.
So I served for 4 years, deployed in 2016 aboard a ship on the 22nd MU. It's the Marine Expeditionary Unit. And had the pleasure of spending 9 months on a boat in very tight quarters and everything. But, a wonderful experience. I always took positions of greater responsibility while I was in. To learn, grow, and just be the best version of myself, because I knew if I wasn't uncomfortable, I wouldn't be growing. And, it rewarded me very well. In short, to make it very brief, in my job field, had got meritorious or promoted all the way to sergeant. What that means is it was an early promotion. I stood out amongst my peers. It was 4 promotions that I was promoted early. And I did it in about half the time it normally takes to get promoted to sergeant in that field. It normally takes people 4 to 7 years, and it took me like 9 days after my 2-year mark.
Nice.
And it's pretty neat. Some of the mentors I had along the way, they were just predicting it, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was just being me, I was always very hungry for growth and helping others and trying to help bring others up with me along the way. And, I was very passionate about that. I really discovered about myself while I was in the Marine Corps. I really loved giving all the knowledge I had to other Marines and just people that I ever interacted with. And so that was a little bit of my time in the Marine Corps. And I got out last October, the end of October 2017, with the intent of going to school out in D.C., and there was a relationship tied to that. And, life happens for you, not to you. Now I found myself back out in Arizona, going to be going to school out here. I actually sat down with the dean of the business school at Arizona State University, and they're going to work with me. School starts in 2 weeks. I just submitted my application, but they're working with me, and I'm going to start in 2 weeks, which is beautiful. It worked out very, very nicely. Yeah, I'm 23 years old right now. I'll be 24 in 2 months. And that's just brief. Yeah, we'll go more in depth, the more questions you ask.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for that. Frank is asking, what boat were you on? What ship?
I was on the USS Wasp, the LHD-1.
Nice. Well,
Right.
man, yeah, what impressed me the most is just that you were, when you were telling me your story and when I met you on Slack a few months ago, I was blown away by your age, because you really have adapted the mindset and the knowledge of what some would say like a 40, 50-year-old. When you're talking about growth mindset and progress, what was the first book that you read or video that you listened to that made such a big impact?
I think, honestly, where it started, as you know, I took Jeremy through some workouts in my time in Nashville, so he got to feel some of that.
That's right.
It started with fitness in high school. I played football my freshman, sophomore year, and I ended up dropping off. The team just focused on working out, to look pretty and whatnot.
Nice.
I say it like that just to be funny. But
Yeah.
no, I got very passionate about my health and fitness, and really it started with, motivational videos from like Eric Thomas, Les Brown. I just typed in motivational videos on YouTube, and I would always try to listen to a new one each time. I had my favorites that I'd go to if I really wanted, to just get in the peak state and just like, I'm ready to conquer the world. But I was always trying to listen to a new one to get new ideas. And I used to have a whiteboard that I'd sit down, and for the week, I'd put my top 3 favorite quotes for the week. And I did that for a number of months while I was in the Marine Corps, and it only got even more ingrained in the Marine Corps. I used to wake up at 3:25 in the morning every day, go to the gym from 4 to 6, and then be ready for work by 7 and work the whole day and rest and repeat.
Right.
And so it started with motivational videos, and learned a lot of characters through that. And books didn't get integrated until about a year ago, to be honest. I never really picked up reading. But I ran into somebody that, recommended. I think the first book I actually read after high school was Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed that. And to follow on with like the compound effect, the magic of thinking big, it was very growth mindset. And, it just, when we think about things that push us and pull us, the growth mentality, the self-development always pulled me. I was always interested to get an idea that can change my life, and I can share that with other people that, I interact with, and they're in a certain situation, and I can share that and give value to them and help them grow and get past through whatever they're going through.
Absolutely.
I hope that answered your question.
It does. It does. Thank you. And so the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is that what got you interested into the markets?
A little bit. I actually sat down in a business class, to see what benefits vets had out there to start their own business and get into that. And there was a gentleman by the name of Steve Gill that introduced me to the Real Life Trading Room. And, this was back in July 2017. And, I don't know why I didn't look at it sooner. But after I left North Carolina and moved back to Arizona, that's when I started looking at your videos and burning through it. I think I got through everything in a matter of like 2 weeks. I got very excited. And, I sat there and I was just expanding my knowledge up until about February. And that's when I actually subscribed to the room just after and I talked to you very briefly. I joined the free week, and
Yep.
I only watched like the first day, because I from Arizona, I moved back out to DC. I just had another big move and, I had to settle down. So I kind of missed most of that, but I already knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted to be able to communicate with the room and the moderators and bounce ideas and just learn. Because I don't think you can't really put a price to growth, because that can change your entire life. And that's how I feel about things, whether it's a $7 book, a $1,500 conference with Tony Robbins, whatever it is, the impact of one idea.
Yeah.
So valuable.
Oh, the impact of one idea. That's so true. So you can't put a value on that, man, because you don't know what's going to happen. And when you get that one idea, what trajectory that's going to lead you towards,
Right. Life changing.
I love it, man. I love it. So tell us a little bit about your trading then. I mean, because you dove in, man, head first. that was your life for a few months.
Oh, yes. So I'll talk about my first month a little bit, and the amount of hours I've put into this beast that I'm still trying to conquer.
Yep.
But my first month was fast and furious. I didn't care. I was excited. I was basically scalping everything I learned throughout the video series, as far as making sure you're doing your analysis, you have a plan going in. In my head, I had an in-my-head plan, like, all right, the chart's doing this candlestick pattern's going, I'm getting in now.
Right.
Mark it in, or most of the time it was a limit order in, but it was like, I knew it would fill me.
Right.
And I would scalp. My whole first month, or my first 2-3 weeks, I was scalping. And I did very well for that. I think in my first 2 days, I took 45 trades, and I was up. I couldn't even put an R to that. I was risking $200 basically per trade, and I was up 700 in a few days. I was happy.
Yeah.
I was working a job. I was working a job at a gym known as Equinox, making 26 an hour as a personal trainer. And I was like, yep. After about a month and a half, I was like, I saw the financial opportunity the markets had brought, and I ended up leaving, and I left on a good note. They were happy. just my character. They're like, if you ever want to come back, you know, we like you. So it wasn't on bad terms, but I left to invest all my time into learning how to trade prior to going to college because I was going to go to school later that fall. So end of February comes, had a couple big losses, and I was like, okay, this isn't sustainable. I need to sit here and force myself to make a plan and follow that plan. So over the last couple of months, I've spent upon hours basically sitting in the whole market day, afterwards seeing what I could have done better, and then back trading a few different strategies. I had like 10 different strategies, and it's like when you're trying to spread your time and identify opportunities, it's too much because you're like, oh, well, it could do this, and then I'm trying to identify it for another strategy. I'm like, dang. So when we sat down last weekend and we talked about focusing on one, I think there's so much value in that because why, if you're not an expert at one, why are you going to try to be an expert at all? You're never going to get anywhere. You're going to make, you know, an inch of progress when, you know, so 10 different strategies, an inch of progress basically, instead of focusing on one and getting 10 inches of progress in it and truly mastering it, you know?
Right.
So,
right.
you know, the strategy that I decided to focus on was fades. You know, for some reason, something about me, I'm always looking for a reversal and to take it the opposite direction. I'm looking for that very moment. And I just like the way it moves. And, yeah. So, I just settled in. I just got back Sunday evening to Arizona, but I'm definitely going to sit down and really define that. And the biggest thing when we sat down together was what's extended.
Right.
You know,
right.
I'm always like, no, it has to turn around. It's like this far. It's definitely extended in the bullish or bearish direction. It's going to reverse. It's coming into a support. It's coming into an EMA, whatever the case. And then sure enough, it, you know, continues going or whatever. So basically defining what that is and committing to it.
Yeah, killer. So fades, man. I mean, because like I said, people figure out like what it is that they like. When you get home, practice Ferrari today. That was a fade.
Ferrari.
I missed it. Well, I didn't miss it. I just didn't set up fast enough, really. See if you can catch the fade on that. That was a killer. But
okay.
Yeah. But anyway, that's really, really cool, man. So tell us a little bit about that. Like that fading approach when you're looking at a chart. What is it? Can you explain in words? What is it that you're looking for?
Okay, so the biggest thing I look for when I'm looking at a fade is prior to the market opening, if I'm trading, you know, I had two different sets and I need to merge them together. I had if it's gapping and then if it's just extended intraday. But my favorite thing to look for is if it's gapping into a support or resistance, a very strong support and resistance. And I love to see, there's a part of me that I was thinking about this today. How would I explain this? I'm like, because I love the gap and goes, but I love the gap and goes when people are trapped and then people are either buying at a value. You know, it's like these people are likely to buy at a value. You know, we talked about it being like a 52-week low for a dividend, high dividend paying stock, or something like that, or it's gapping to an all-time high. And that's kind of what I look for. Intraday is really where I need to define it. A lot of times what I'm looking for is it extended and it's coming into a very, very strong support or resistance. And that's where I start identifying it. And then from there, I'm going technical analysis. What is the candle? What is the sentiment in the candles? Is there a lot of volume coming in? Or are people going to be trapped if it breaks down? You know, people are expecting it to continue in the direction of the trend, and are there people trapped? And that's all set it up.
Right. Gotcha. And what time frame candles do you look at the most?
You know, I love the 1 minute.
Yep.
But, you know, I do bounce between the 1, 5, and 15. So the only time I ever look at the daily is to kind of see where the simple moving averages are and, you know, where that could be coming in to support or resistance. And then for the most part, I'm looking at always focusing on 1 and 5, and I'll glance out onto the 15 to make sure I'm not missing a bigger picture on what it's doing.
Gotcha. Well, dude, I'm so pumped to you know, hear about when you finalize that plan, and you'll be able to share it with us, and we'll be able to see you trade your trades again. That's going to be really fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, that's going to be absolutely killer. Let's switch gears here for a moment, because I think you're a great person to ask this, again, especially being able to experience life with you for a few days. What would your advice be to somebody who is struggling with being disciplined? Like, how do you make someone, or how does someone become disciplined from not being disciplined?
This is kind of tough because there's multiple directions I want to take it. But the first way I wanted to take it is if I was having a conversation with someone, and I make an example of one of my clients, my personal training clients, not being there on time. And I had like a window of time where it's like acceptable, and it was habitual. And I was like, all right, this is like a zero tolerance thing now. And what I was the conversation I had with her, like I said, it was never punch me. It was always, I always wanted to see their perspective and how they're approaching, the issue, and whatever it is. It could be anything.
Okay.
And a lot of the times, one of the things I ask, they have a goal or something they're wanting to achieve. And I'm like, how important is this to you? Because I'm telling you right now that if it was important enough to you, you wouldn't put it off. You wouldn't waste your time. You wouldn't be doing this because this is a must for you. It's not like, oh, I should get my health together. We're here because you had a goal. Let's get that goal. Let's stop wasting time. How important is this to you? And obviously there's a variety of factors in someone's life that plays into that, whether it's career stress, relationship stress, kids, whatever the case. And I totally get that. And it's always about seeing their perspective and trying to bridge the gap and get them to see it from another perspective, maybe not the right perspective, but I always like to see all sides of a situation and try to break down someone's thought process. I don't know if that kind of answers it a little bit.
Totally. And that's a good question, man. The question, how important is it to you? Because I think if you ask that to many people, their reply will be, oh, this is the most important thing ever. And then you get to go, are you sure?
Right. Well, the thing is, what I think Eric Thomas said this. It's like he said, change your actions or change your goals. Because realistically, the behavior that you're doing right now, you're not going to get this phenomenal goal that you're trying to reach. And I don't, I'm not trying to be a pessimist or realist, but like a lot of people don't understand that. I'm trying my best, but how often do we look back and know that we could have put in that much more? And as far as like starting discipline, and really anything, I tell people it really takes about 2 weeks to develop a habit. Just do it. Just don't even think about it. Once your mind starts thinking about the opposing decision, forget about the decision. Just do it. You think about it. You got to do it. It's a should. Whenever you have to ask yourself, I should, or you tell yourself, I should do this, you probably should do it. Just do it. Don't have a second thought. Don't have a second thought. Commit to it. You wanted a life change in some area of your life, or you wanted to commit to doing something. Follow it through. And if it's not what you like, don't. People change who they want to be all the time. Or the goals and achievements. You'll know when you get there, at least experience it and understand, like, you know what, I don't like this, but I did like this about it, and I want to take it more in this direction.
Absolutely.
So you discover yourself. You discover yourself along the way.
Yeah, that is so true. Because I think if I had to draw it as a map, I know you can't see my screen right now, but others will be able to. The interesting part is, I found this a lot with myself, is if I'm starting something, what I will do is for a lot of people, when you start something, let's say a month into it, they will quit not because of other pressures other than it's just too hard. Like they'll just say, oh, this is too difficult. This is too time consuming. This is too stressful. I'm just going to quit. If you're quitting under those reasons, that's called failure. Now, if you really push through those hurdles, if you really push through those pain barriers, if you really push through that stress or that financial hurdle, whatever it is, if you really push through it, then you get to decide, you know what, this business or this venture or this trade or this partnership is not the right one based on very logical and specific metrics. That's a whole different thing. Like I've created businesses, I've put into the work and I put in the time and I put in a lot of money, and then, all right, 4 or 5, 6 months down the line, shoot, this thing is just an entire complete flop. So I'm just going to quit based on the fact that logistically this makes no sense and financially it's not making any income. So I'm just going to quit at this point. That's fine. That's just simply, that's losing.
You can
Right.
losing and failing is two different things.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
yeah, and when it comes down to trading, it's very similar in my opinion, and that is that mindset of right before you take that trade, that fear that sneaks up and says, "Hey man, you're going to lose this, you're going to lose your money, you're going to be wrong, you're not good enough, you're not right." That'll sneak up, and that's the part that we need to battle. Do you ever experience that?
Absolutely. I definitely love touching on that. You got to see my psychology behind when we were doing some back trading, and I had some analysis paralysis. I was reacting to the charts in the moment. I'd set up a trade. I know exactly what I wanted it to do, and it's all too familiar. I shared it in the channel in Slack, kind of like some of my setups and what I was thinking at the time and what ended up happening or why I didn't take it. And every time it came down to me not just committing to my plan, I just didn't commit to exactly what I thought it was going to do.
Wow.
And it ended up doing what I wanted it to do. And what I would always do, or what I'd, the majority of the time find myself doing, is readjusting the trade. Be like, oh, well, you know what? It did, it broke through what I wanted it to do. It's retesting. And, I'm going to put my limit sell a little higher. I'm going to put my limit sell a little higher and, try to get like the best possible setup I can do. And what that's caused me to do is probably miss a good 90% of my trades because I'm always trying to, seriously. And that's why I love that we sat down, because I knew my biggest limiting factor was my psychology and my fear of, this isn't going to work out, or, I want to lose the smallest I can, so I'm going to make it a lot tighter. My risk reward's a little better. And I was just like, I just wasn't committing to things. And that really hindered me. It really hindered me. And it's like, I got the analysis down. I got everything down. And that doesn't mean I'm wrong, or I'm not wrong sometimes, because I absolutely am. But it's okay. It's 100% okay. And having that plan, knowing your risk and everything, there's no reason why you should be having a heart attack before you take that trade. So you already know worst case scenario and best case, So
it's so easy when you say it though. It's so easy to say that, man.
Right. It is. Then you're like, oh, the market, the volume's coming in. Oh, this isn't looking good.
Yeah.
I don't like these candles. Let me move this. And then, you move your stop too fast. You do whatever because of the fear. Instead of go ahead.
What's your advice for someone who's battling with that?
I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing, and what I would recommend to somebody else is, because I've known this, and I've known this for a couple months now. The biggest thing is what I would say is back trading, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to have some arbitrary number of trades I want to do to find out my statistics, know how it works, and know if it's working, and be able to adjust from there versus, you're cutting out the fear of losing your money. You're going to know how your strategy works without that fear. And then once you know the statistic on it, okay, this works 60% of the time, 70% of the time, 43% of the time, but through my statistics, I'm still profitable even though I'm winning only 43% of the time.
Right.
And you get to put statistics to that, and I know for me that would extend my confidence a little more. Be like, okay, my strategy is working, or it's not working as well as I want. What do I need to adjust? What do I need to adjust and go back through and back trade again? How could it be different? And it's going to be the practice. If you're sitting there like me in analysis paralysis, and you're not practicing, you're only doing it market open, you're gonna find yourself not committing. Not committing a lot of time because you don't have the data to back up your strategy. And the worst thing that's happening to your strategy is you're putting your fear into it, and it's ruining your statistics because you're either forcing something because you saw that 2 trades worked prior to, and like this one has to work because you're on a go. You didn't commit to the other 2. Now you got to commit to this one. And, you're not getting you. Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's me.
Yeah.
I'll do like 2 or 3 trades, two or three super profitable trades in a day. Didn't take them, and I'm like, all right, I'm on a streak. I'm committing to this next one, and then like almost an instant 1 hour loss, like 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh, that's so heart wrenching.
It is.
And then it makes it, and I love something that Tony Robbins describes as like the behind fear, where he talks about any a human has unlimited potential, and they have a certain belief in their ability to do something. Now, if you don't have, a belief in your ability to trade profitably, the that's going to fuel a certain amount of action, right? That's going to fuel a certain amount of action, and that action is going to fuel your result. And those results, whether they're lousy or you're not doing how you want to do, are going to give you even less belief, and then you're going to take less action, and you just go in a downward spiral. And that's what happened to me as far as, not committing to trades. I didn't commit to trades and everything, and that only reinforced the belief that I wasn't going to be profitable, or that my next trade was going to be an instant, I get wicked in and then stopped out, within 5-10 minutes. And that's the most upsetting thing ever. And because it's like, dang, it's like, why can't I just commit to the ones that I actually work out? And then you tell yourself, well, I always take the ones that don't work out. And then it just reinforces that belief that you're not going to do well. And that just reinforces fear and everything. And vice versa. You feel very strong. You've practiced. You know how your strategy works. Your belief in that goes way up, meaning you're taking massive action. You're practicing. You're implementing, which fuels a result. Whether that result, it's like we talked about before. It's okay to lose. And since you practice and everything before, your strategy is profitable. So that's fueling a result, and that's reinforcing your belief that it's working, and you're only going to get better. You're going to adapt your plan, and you're going to become a better trader. It goes both ways.
Wow, that's huge. And here's the great part, man. You're going to get to listen to that to yourself when you're trading, and you feel like you're struggling, man. Just hit that hit that play button, listen to yourself, talk to yourself, because that is. You, in that last 4 minutes, you summed up what I would argue is 90% of most traders' problems when it comes down to they will set up trades that are really good and they won't take those trades, and they will all work out, and then you will go and you'll feel upset and you'll take the next trade and it will be a loser, and you're like, why did I just take those 2 or 3 other trades? Because they would have worked. It's like, so you have to find that consistency, and the consistency is more or less take every one that you set up. Take everyone that follows your plan, and then once you're in the trade, like Benjamin's saying, you can adjust it afterwards. But you're gonna have you got to get into that trade. Like you have to, and because for me, that's breaking my plan. Is if I say, all right, I want this to happen, I spell it out. I say I asked for this. I tell the market what I want. Obviously it doesn't listen, but I'm creating that future plan for myself, because then I have a quantitative determining factor on did I follow my plan or not, which would be I need this candle to close like this or whatever. And then once it does that, then I have to take that trade no matter what, because every time, regardless of how much money you have, you're going to feel like you're an idiot and you're going to be losing money and you're not good enough. Like you're always going to have that deep down inside until you become, a true professional and you put in 20,000 hours. You're going to always have those fears, and it just takes a lot of work.
Right. Absolutely. That's great. I'm glad everybody gets to hear all this too. Anybody that could be, suffering in the background and doing the same thing, I do hope it helps. So.
Oh, it will. Oh, yeah. No question. Yeah, no question. It certainly will. What about this one? Because Falco brings up a good point. He says, what if you set up 3 and don't take them and they work? You could walk away and don't take that next one. Also a possibility, like if you get emotional and you know that you're emotional, how do you, what's your advice and your opinion or your thoughts on how would someone judge their emotions? Like how do you, when you're looking at a trade, how do you know if you're getting emotionally compromised and you need to step away?
Right. And I like that you said emotionally compromised. I kind of stole that from you guys, because, just like Falco had said, there in the instances that I didn't commit to a trade, I basically would just walk away. I shut the computer and I'm like, I didn't commit to it. It did what I wanted, or it's kind of doing it. I just walk away. When I know that I'm questioning whether or not I'm going to take something, what is this chart doing? What's my plan? And if I'm not committing something, I'm like, I need to come back in an hour. I need to come back an hour or so, get my mind off of it, and come back with a fresh mind. Because otherwise, I'm like, what is it doing? What is it doing? And then you're forcing something, Yeah. You're forcing something. So my advice to that is when you find yourself asking, am I chasing this? Am I, what does it look like? Whatever the chart looks like, am I committing to my plan? Did I not commit to something? Once you feel yourself feeling like second guessing yourself, I walk away. I walk away because I'm like, I'm obviously not in the right state of mind. I need to go get myself in a higher state, a peak state, and come back. So, and the only way I do that is take myself away from the computer, to get my mind off of it, go do something else, and come back fresh. Because even if I walk away for 5-10 minutes, my mind's still thinking about what the chart just did.
Yeah.
So I'll come back to it. I don't know if that answered your question.
It does. No, totally. Absolutely. That's
Okay.
super useful. I mean, as far as like a trade and everything, what broker are you using?
I'm using TradeStation.
TradeStation. And why are you using that one?
I'm using TradeStation because they help vets. They have a veteran program and emergency services. They offer them commission-free trading for stocks, options, reduced futures cost.
Gotcha.
I haven't gotten into futures, but just free trading, and they have a pretty robust platform. Because the only free brokers, to my knowledge, you got Robinhood and Webull, and I don't know if there's any others, but they're not very robust. And yeah, it seems to be working for me pretty well.
Gotcha. Very cool.
I like them.
I love it. Here's a good question, and I like asking you this question because I think you're going to give me an honest answer. In this scenario for your trading, have you explored worst case scenario? And if so, what is your worst case scenario? What does absolute failure look like in this example?
In a trade or just trading in general?
Just your trading in general, your trading career.
Trading career would be walking away knowing the financial opportunity that it brings, the type of financial freedom it can bring, whether it's part-time or full-time, that's something that is another avenue of income. And, I told myself that I'm committing 3 to 5 years, regardless of how I'm performing, to really learn how this works and at least understand. So if there's anybody, whether I failed as a trader or not, if I failed and I understand how the market works and everything, I couldn't control my psychology, I'm going to be able to help somebody and guide somebody that is interested and be able to provide them information and a perspective. I'm not going to turn them away like, oh, I couldn't do it, so you can't. Absolutely not. I can share my knowledge, what I learned, and they can be better than me. And I'd hope anybody that I show trading or open, I always show people your site. I'm like, hey, watch these videos, learn how to do it. I hope they're a better trader than me. Every time I'm like, I hope you're better than me. I've done this well, or I've done like I perform like this, but I hope you outdo me tenfold.
Absolutely.
And yeah, absolutely. So failure to me, because I defined that I was going to commit 3 to 5 years, would just be quitting. Absolutely, or not committing to my plan and not sticking through, or just shying away from the computer, because we could all say, yeah, I did it for 3 to 5 years, but I looked at it once a month and I still felt uncomfortable. No, and I'm putting it in my plan that I was thinking it today. I'm going to commit to 1 trade a day, at least, to start building repetitions. Because I can back trade all I want, but there's no fear in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to commit to 1 trade a day. Obviously I'm going to look for the best setup possible, but I really need to break that psychology. I know the only way breaking that psychology is trial by fire. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to feel uncomfortable, and I'm going to have to master my emotions.
Trial by fire. So like a Marine. I love it. How does one get over that fear then? I mean, let's talk about trial by fire. How does anyone overcome a fear of anything, in your opinion?
Oh, fear. Where do I want to take this? I think the best way to face your fear, and maybe not necessarily the right way or the only right way, but in my opinion, is facing it. Facing it and getting the repetition, whether it's fear of rejection, going out and about and talking to people, socializing, just putting yourself out there, putting yourself in a situation, whatever that may be. I knew somebody that was scared of frogs, and the way we kind of got through that was buying frogs and having to hold the frog, and they're trembling, and their whole body's trembling, and they're having a panic attack. A couple of days go by, now they can touch a frog, no problem. When they'd have a panic attack,
Yeah.
It's crazy. So in my experience and what I know and what I've helped people with is, let's just face it. We don't have to do something so traumatic that, I know you're forever traumatized and you're never going to get over this thing. But let's face it, let's get progressive and start doing it. It's going to be uncomfortable. And like I said in the very beginning, I always put myself in a position to be uncomfortable, and I'd recommend that to somebody else, because that's the only way you're going to grow. That's the only way you're going to conquer your fear. I shouldn't say the only way. One of the ways, maybe somebody else has a better way. One of the ways I believe is facing it, though, putting yourself out there and getting the repetitions, whether it's in the market, like I said earlier, getting the repetitions in, trial by fire. I'm going to commit. So I can get that fear instilled in me. You know, if the trade's going against me and I have to master it, I'm faced with the decision to just panic and react emotionally, or I can sit there, take a breath, and master my emotions. And that can go with, you know, any fear.
Interesting. I love it. I love that. I think that's great advice. Very, very good opinion. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Probably could have been right. It probably could have been better communicated, but you know, I beat around the bush a little bit.
No, perfect. It was perfect. Well, throw this at me. So let's go back, switch gears again to trading and stocks. Do you have any companies or any investment opportunities, anything long term that you're watching that you think people should keep their eyes on? Any companies that you think are really innovative? Anything that you'd like long term?
Well, I kind of like your philosophy behind investing in companies that you use every day.
Okay.
So, you know, because you already know how they make money. You know, you like the product, you know how they make money. Why don't you have a stake in them? And so that's something I've been wanting to develop myself. I've really only focused on day trading. I've only been trading since mid-February.
Right.
But I have wanted to get more involved with getting stake. You know, I kind of kicked myself for a little bit when, you know, Apple was down in 160, 170 range and not picking some up. You know, didn't have to throw all my money into it. You know, I could have picked up, you know, a couple shares. And, you know, so the companies I do watch, I was kind of deviating a little bit, but I'm always watching, you know, SPY, Apple, and Facebook.
Sure.
You know, I'm always looking for setups on those. But no, right now, to be honest, I'm waiting for a little bit of a market pullback because I feel like a lot of things are, you know, near their all-time high.
Yep.
And maybe they break higher, you know, and this is why I said I need to sit down and actually create a plan on how I want to, or what I'm looking for when I'm looking to invest in a company.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah,
before I define, I won't get into something before I define that because I'm not going to just get into something not knowing how I want to execute it.
Yeah, no, it makes tons of sense. Well, what do you think is the future of Facebook? Not the stock, just the company. Do you have any visions, or have you heard any thoughts or any interesting opinions on what's Facebook look like 5 years from now?
Right. You know, honestly, I probably couldn't provide a educated enough answer on it. You know, I know, I guess a decent amount on what they do, and you know, I don't know all their endeavors in the future. Like I said, I need to do a lot more research on the companies that I want to invest in. Like I said, I'm only watching Apple and Facebook because I like the way they move intraday. It's very liquid, and they move decently most often.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I always ask myself, or at least over the last 2 weeks, I've really asked myself, what is something that would take out a company like Facebook? What would be, you know, the new Facebook? We can't imagine it. It's like, what's really going to take that market over? And, you know, I find myself thinking about that in a lot of different industries. You know, what would totally disrupt an industry, and like, how would they do it? And what would separate them? You know, I'm always trying to find this, you know, because I'd love to be behind a project like that and, you know, changing the world in a whole nother way and creating an impact on people's lives. And yeah, I know that didn't really answer the question. Like I said, I couldn't provide a good enough answer for where I see Facebook going, but I'd love to see what companies come up and really challenge the beast that Facebook is. So
hey, I agree. So I mean, what do you? So you're young. Would you use Snapchat at all?
I had used Snapchat for, I don't know, it was like 2, maybe 3 years, but I deleted it probably a year and a half ago. I don't use Snapchat anymore. The only thing I use right now is Instagram and Facebook. So,
got it.
Yeah, Instagram basically adopted what Snapchat offered. I don't know what Snapchat is doing to differentiate themselves from Instagram, but I know Instagram took over their stories and stuff like that. So, story feature.
Well, here's a random one then. What do you think about the stock Planet Fitness, PLNT?
Oh my gosh, I love that you bring it up. That's so funny. So my buddy Anthony had been telling me to buy Planet Fitness back when it was like $30, like $28, $30. I'm like, I don't know, man. I was like, I believe they're going to grow. I think I 100% believe they're going to grow, but I don't see this stock going very, very high. It's a gym, and of course I love fitness and everything, but I'm like, it's a gym tailored to a community to get more people involved, that aren't comfortable stepping in a gym. And like their business model, I mean, I think it's brilliant as far as like getting, I don't want to say the average person, but somebody that isn't comfortable stepping into another commercial gym and the fear of feeling judged and stuff like that. Because you have, a totally different characters amongst all types of different gyms. And it's like, which one do you join? And Planet Fitness is that no judgment zone and all that. But to really answer your question, my buddy Anthony and I had this conversation. I'm considering getting a little bit of a stake in it, but I wanted to pull back. I think the last time I looked at it, it was trading in the 50s, where it had hit its all-time high of the 50s. And yeah, he got in at like 30 when we talked about it back in like April, May. I was like, when did you tell? You never told me you got in it. Nice. And I was like, nice. I was like, yeah. I was like, maybe I'll wait till it pulls down into, I don't know. We'll see if it gets a retrace down to like 38 to 42, somewhere in there. And maybe getting a small stake.
That's very interesting.
Maybe it's there now. Yeah. What's your thought?
It's at 48.15 right now. I think that this is one of the ones I missed for sure. But you're right regarding they took a model and catered it towards people that go to the gym. Then you have people that don't go to the gym and they wanted to go, I'm going to cater to those people and get so. Here's the way I would sum it up. They try to get so many people to pay them $20, $15 a month, where it's so minuscule that you forget about it, but you don't really ever cancel it because you kind of feel bad about canceling a membership, and they make it super hard to cancel also.
Right, they do.
Yeah, so their customer service is not mind-boggling, but if it is, here's a model that, if I can offer any advice for anyone listening. If you do want to invest in a company long-term, ask a very easy question. Do they have reoccurring revenue model? And if the answer is yes, it is probably a longer-term buy, because reoccurring revenue is the way that that's right now. That's the way the market shift and cycle is changing. I don't know about this for sure, but 30 years ago, you didn't have tons of reoccurring revenue models. You had pay up front, pay by a month for 4 or 5 months until you pay it off kind of thing. Obviously, you had mortgages and things like that in the financial industry, but you didn't have like the $10 a month or the $29 a month type of thing. And Planet Fitness, man, I mean, their stock has gone from $20, a year ago to $40. And then when it IPO'd, we're talking $10.
Exactly.
That's crazy. But yeah, it's just a recurring revenue model that people, you get 5 million people a month paying $10 a month. That's not bad.
No, not at all. And someone's going to look at that and be, well, I'm paying $10. Even if I go one day, it beats going to like get a day pass at whatever gym, because a lot of gyms charge anywhere from like $8 to $20 just to go for the day if you don't have a membership.
Bingo.
This is perfect. I can go anywhere at any time. They have tanning beds, massage chairs, like you said, they make it hard to leave. It's like, I get all this for $10 or $20, whatever your commitment is to that. And,
yeah.
They obviously got their pro or their black card or something like that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
An interesting one to think about. Any other companies like that in the fitness industry that you have your eyes on? Are there any nutrients or supplements? I mean, you have Nutrisystem is publicly traded. Weight Watchers is publicly traded. Do you have any opinions on any of those?
That's such a big industry. The supplement industry is so big. I guess, and I'm not trying to market any, supplements I believe, but, I really got stuck to a certain brand. And, I think I tried looking up their parent company is Core Jensen. I don't know if they're publicly traded. But no, I'm not really following anything like that. I know GNC is out there, but I don't follow that like Herbalife. I think Herbalife has a stock and all that. But
yeah,
I don't. Go ahead.
Well, what's your opinion on GNC? Why did it go from $50 to $3? Is it going bankrupt? Are there other companies that are just much better? Why did GNC do what it did, in your opinion?
$50 to $3. Wow. It's so easy to get things online right to your door now. I know they have an online model that'll ship out, and they offer pro memberships to get discounts and stuff. But I feel like a lot of times I've ever, bought supplements, I was always able to find a better deal, on bodybuilding.com or, other sites. And what I felt were higher quality supplements that maybe GNC didn't sell. And that was for me, to be honest, just better deals and everything. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, I don't know, I'm not going to say everybody thinks like me, but, you know, I like the convenience, and I'm always looking for a great deal on everything. And, you know, yeah, and GNC for a while, and this may be why they can't change their model, you know, their supplements used to be so expensive, and the only way to get them at the normal price, what you could have done online for the same price, was to commit to their, you know, their gold program or whatever it was called. So it's like, if you didn't have that gold card, you were paying, you know, 130%, 140% for this product that you can go to bodybuilding.com and get it for what the regular price is that you have if you have the gold card. It was ridiculous. And they changed that model about a year ago to match, you know, their competitors. So now they're offering products at a regular price, and now their membership offers like discounts, and you get more with this GNC Pro Box and stuff like that. But yeah, they had to make themselves competitive, or they were just going to be outsold because they weren't offering great deals.
Yeah, those two.
So maybe that's why they took a tank.
Yeah, the Vitamin Shop and GNC, man, those things have just gotten absolutely obliterated. It's pretty bad. But yeah, you're right. I didn't think about the online, like, you know, Amazon, other companies just doing it better, because those would have been good ones that would sell. But yeah, that was the simple fact is those are ones just people didn't want to sign up for, because like Linderman's mentioning, this is a good example of a recurring revenue model that didn't work, which I agree with. Recurring revenue models that people have to sign up for and use in order to get a better discount somewhere else rarely works. The only one that works, I think, pretty well is Amazon Prime, and that's because you get so much with it. You know, I mean, the delivery alone makes it worth, you know, for the Amazon Prime, and the students get it free, I think, for 2 years. So yeah, usually recurring revenue models, if you get something that you can't get without it, is really good. But when you have to sign up for something, for example, if Kroger has their Kroger Rewards, and, you know, it's free. But if I had to pay $20 extra for a Kroger Rewards card to get the savings in Kroger, I wouldn't pay it. You know, $20 extra a month. Like those are the type of recurring revenue models that are not good, I think.
Right. No, and that makes sense.
Yeah, man. Well, let's one last question. So over there in Arizona, what city do you live in again?
I'll be leaving in Phoenix. Right now I'm down in Tucson, visiting my family. I'll be here until the semester starts. So so Phoenix is where I'll be living.
What's your schedule for your classes look like? Do you know yet?
Because I'm like an expedited entry, I haven't sat down with an academic advisor yet. But so my application, everything's getting processed. Like, they're going to work with me, which is beautiful. And within this, maybe not this week, but the beginning of next week, I'll sit down with an academic advisor and know my schedule. It's gonna be funky because you know, all those classes are going to be filled, and I'm going to have to work around that for this semester, and then the next semester will be able to work fairly nice. So, yeah, but it's beautiful. The market opens very early over here.
oh yeah, it does. It's really nice. So what time do you think your classes will start? Do they kind of give you a general idea, or can they start at any time?
They can start at any time, but, you know, from my understanding, a lot of the business school classes are more in the evening. You know, I think the earliest classes will be really 8, 9 o'clock. So.
A.M.?
No, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Okay. The very early classes, but from my understanding, like I said, the majority are supposed to be in the evening, at least the business tailored classes.
So at the end of this degree, what's the degree? Is it a bachelor's degree that you're going for, an associate's? What's the outcome?
Right. So it's a bachelor's in going to be unique. So not many schools offer like an entrepreneurship focused program, and I really discovered this kind of about myself after going to this Tony Robbins event. I felt like my decision to pursue a career in computer science, cybersecurity was more of a comfort. You know, I did have an interest in technology, but you know, I didn't find myself as enthusiastic as I know other people are. And I know something that I've always been very passionate about was bringing value to other people and helping other people grow. And, you know, one of the ways I did that was through personal training. It was never just about fitness, you know. I know I'm deviating a little bit. I'm going to tie it in.
No, it works. I'm with you, man.
Right. You know, any of my clients I work with or the Marines I've helped throughout my time in the Marine Corps, you know, it was never just about fitness. It was always trying to help them be the best version of themselves. So it was always helping them work on their character. And when I'd find things that, you know, whether it was making excuses or just kind of like their psychology, and not saying they're wrong per se, but I just always wanted to give someone a different perspective to maybe kind of just have a shift in thinking, or just let them ponder upon it, and maybe they adopt that value, maybe they don't. You know, I just, like I said, I just was always trying to add value. And where this ties in is into entrepreneurship that caught my attention is, you know, I really want to do something that impacts the world, changes the world, and I'm really trying to figure out how I want to do that, because there's multiple avenues that I'm interested in. And who knows, maybe I maybe venture them all. Maybe I just do one, and it's wildly successful. And, you know, I want to leave a lasting mark, you know, leave it better than it was when I got here.
Absolutely, man. I love that. Well, I look forward to hearing the stories of success and your, you know, what you've learned and what you've taken away and what you've grasped from the entrepreneurship program. Super excited to trade with you again here once you get settled back into school and all that stuff kind of calms down. Got to say, man, thank you so much for the interview. You're going to be helping a lot of people. You're going to help yourself because you're going to listen to this interview again in the future. You'll help me.
Right.
You know, you're going to enrich many lives, man. So thank you. And if anyone has any questions for Brandon, feel free to throw them in. Do you have any questions for me, or do you have any other questions for anyone listening?
Well, first, I wanted to say, you know, thank you for taking the time to actually sit down and interview, reach out to me, and sit down and talk with me. You know, it's beautiful. I was wondering if it would happen or when, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to say? But it was great. It was great. It was a wonderful conversation, and I do hope that it added value to people. I don't know if anybody had any questions that they threw in the chat pane. Be happy to answer.
Got it.
But no, questions for you.
Well, because it was funny how that worked out, because we had planned for today to have like a coaching session and also an interview. We had planned that like weeks ago, and then it just happened that you were, you know, in Nashville, so we did the in-person coaching, and then, you know, it was phenomenal the way that worked out. I
was so thankful for that, and thank you again for that. It was a phenomenal experience, meeting your friends, meeting Ashley, and you know, very, very nice, genuine people, you know.
Thanks, man.
You guys were awesome. And I appreciate it all.
Yeah, dude, you're awesome. Have fun in Phoenix, man. You're amazing. We'll chat again soon.
Absolutely.
All right.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right. See you, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Brandon Robles. He is not on Slack right now because he's, like I said, he's, you know, moving cross country, packing his bags, getting everything set up, getting into school. But he'll be back probably late August, early September, back in Slack. So make sure to pound him with questions, charts, analysis, that kind of stuff. Phenomenal. I love doing the interviews. Next week, another interview every single week. And we'll just slowly continue to enrich lives together, team. Thanks for being here. I truly appreciate it. If you guys have any questions or anything else, let me know. Right now, officially, we are not in any day trades. You're welcome to keep an eye on Skechers, but I think I'm just going to pack it in for the day, call it a nice win, and see what the market gives us tomorrow. I'll be back from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern for Energy Wednesday. And until then, love life, live life, and trade it. You all rock. Bye-bye.